So we'll get another person in here, it's gonna be tight. Yeah.
Did you bring copies of the questions, Dan? Copies of the questions?
I wanted them for each candidate.
For the
Well,
candidates, they're
these are
not
for
for
the
us.
candidates. Ours are in the board.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give these.
Give it back.
Thanks for letting me know what I was looking for.
Turn off my. You're welcome. Why are my screen's not working? They were working earlier.
That's the man that's in charge.
Don't know, I didn't give it to him. I got my, I don't know. What was it?
I think this comes from one of those two guys. This is the
What are you talking about?
non-disclosure.
I mean, they're on, but
Wiggle your mouse.
Yeah, were you talking about this right here?
Oh,
Yeah.
It was
just
late,
saw
I
it.
don't know.
There, no cigarette. Oh, there it is.
there, okay.
All right.
This is good. Here you go. Now we're good.
Yeah,
It's good.
I was starting to look a little shaky.
Still was looking good. I can never let my hair grow that long. Because I was telling Greg that when I wrestled, it was always shorter football and our coach wouldn't let us, you know.
Yeah,
So I got used to that and it gets a little bit long and it feels weird.
yeah.
So I can't pull it off.
Yeah. When I played in high school a few years before you did, my hair was blonde.
See what they had, it couldn't touch the collar, it couldn't hang over our ears.
Yeah, we didn't have the rules. We wouldn't have followed them anyway.
Well, we had one guy, this former Army sergeant, and we had demerit. It was like we were in the military. He didn't want to mess with him. I would just say I was good, so I was like, okay, if you want me to shave my head, sure. Hey, I need to see some of those pictures.
Oh, I got a couple of years. It's down pretty good. And I tell you what, the day I retired, I may never cut it.
Really? See, there's a judge in Fenton.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, may I have roll call, please?
Greg Carnes,
Here?
Jennifer Eden, here. Herman Ferguson,
Here.
Dean Haas,
Here?
Pam Mockler, here. Chris Rapetta,
Here.
All right. Entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
Greg, I'd requested, and I'm going to request again, to add to the agenda a discussion on NDAs. I think it's important we discuss this tonight for many reasons, which I'd be happy to explain in a discussion.
All right.
I second that.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to add discussion of non-disclosure agreements to the agenda.
And Chris has
Second.
Rapetta has seconded that.
Yes.
All right, thank you. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right, we will have it.
Appreciate it.
I take it this is your,
Yes.
Okay, thank
Just
you.
some documentation I
Yeah.
got along, just in case. Yeah.
thank you.
And Greg, I have a question. The consent agenda shows for December 2nd, the board meeting, but wouldn't this be the 16th board meeting minutes? That was our last board meeting that we had.
Should be both.
Should be both.
What's in the packet, I believe, is the second.
It's the second.
Yes, the second.
Yeah, I don't think the
The ones from the
16th.
16th are not complete.
So, yeah, we only have the second in the board packet. The 16th will be in the January 20th packet, I would assume.
Yes.
So we'll have the 16th and then this one both at the next, okay.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so again, motion to approve the agenda with the changes.
Where are we putting this discussion? What
Four,
Four.
number 4.
Under new business. Yep.
Oh, one other item, sorry, Greg, if it helps the process, knowing we have interviewees and whatnot, I'd also maybe propose just suspending the discussions around the unfinished business items until next meeting, so that we can focus on the other people. Those will take some good discussion and whatnot in time, but,
No, I would really like to get the burning ordinance out of the way. And I don't think the other ones are going to take that long. So, I mean, unless,
The fund balance policy amendments, I think, is going to take quite a while. And so to number 2.
well, and then I think we could just, you could just postpone those as we get to them.
That's fine.
So 1 and 2, you want to postpone then, Dean?
Well, at
Well,
least,
when we get to them,
Okay.
we'll just do it as we go.
yeah.
Okay.
When we get to them, we'll just say we're not, we don't have all the information together
Okay,
to
good enough.
discuss. So again,
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda with the revisions.
Support.
with the addition of item 4.
Yep. Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, approval of the consent agenda, the Township Board minute meetings for December 2nd, 2025, the Treasurer's Report, November 30th, 2025, and the Clerk's warrants and bills, December 22nd, 2025. Can entertain a motion for approval?
I approve. Make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Communications to receive and place on file. Livingston County Sheriff's Report, November 30th, 2025.
So
Again,
move to receive and place on file.
Support.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, public remarks. Again, remind the audience, agenda items only, please. Yeah, Jim?
So the special meeting that you just had, I wasn't even gonna bother to come to that because it was supposed to be just about the questions you were gonna ask. And I really could care less what questions you ask. It's more your interview skills that are in question. But I wanted to read to you MCL, and Herm, you might want to write this down so you can ask Chuck. MCL 41.72A, number 4. Here's what it says. I hope you're listening. The Township Board shall not transact business at a special meeting unless the business was stated in the notice of the meeting. However, if all members of the board are present at a special meeting, business that might lawfully come before a regular meeting of the board may be transacted at the special meeting.
So what that's saying is, because Chris wasn't here, you had no business talking about this corny point system that this joker pointed out, suggested to you. You illegally did that. You violated the Open Meetings Act right there. And I want you to ask him, is he aware of that law? Because I watched you talk about that, and guess whose suggestion it was? The point system. Do you all remember? That guy right there. He helped you break the law, Herm. I've tried to point that out. The dude sucks as an attorney. So there's the law. I was going to try and print it off for you all because you never show up with one. You violated the Open Meetings Act. And since I have another minute, you remember the meeting before that?
How is this related to the agenda?
Because you're going to interview people with that process tonight. And you're not supposed to respond to me, by the way, Greg, remember? Funny how you're selective with that. It's a law, bro. Read it. You're the one that said, when Dean said, what are we going to do? What process are we going to use? We're going to follow, and I quote Greg Carnes, MSL blah, blah, blah. You don't even know what the law is, Greg. How are you going to follow it? Dean says, I have it in my hand. It's MCL 201.3. And you all acted like he showed up unprepared, right, Jennifer? He was on your nerves. There's the law, right there. And here's another one, since I got 37 seconds left. You remember the meeting before that? Where your agenda didn't go through? And you looked at Chuck, Greg, and you said, here's another one, Herm. You said, we have no agenda, Chuck. What do we do? You remember his answer? You can either hash it out or adjourn the meeting. The what? The meeting? Where there was 2 votes? Was there a public comment in that meeting? No, there's another violation of the Open Meetings Act right there. And since you all have taught me so much about the Open Meetings Act and pursuing people that possibly violated it, I just gave you 2 concrete violations right there. So I'm expecting censures, and you better put that on the front burner and crap can your interviews tonight. I see you're stumbling, aren't you? You're the ones that don't show up prepared. Neither does he. For $165 an hour, he sits there and helps you. Look at him. He's trying to read the law after the fact. I see the stupid clock.
Okay, thank you.
Look at him. Look at him.
Thank you, Jim.
He's trying to check and see if I'm right.
Thank you, Jim.
You might as well pay me $165.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim. Anybody else? Okay. All right, moving on to unfinished.
Before you move on,
I just said, anybody else?
No, you didn't. You said moving on to unfinished business.
You need to ask the question.
Anybody else again?
Ask the question.
Come on.
Hey, Jody Kelly. On the agenda, you have treasurer's request to attend the Michigan Municipal Treasurers Association, blah, 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 workshop. And I think that the request should be denied because there's many reasons why, but I know that she has attended many other trainings but in workshops, but there's many reasons why people have spoken about it at these meetings. But one that's more current and recent is that for over a year, she's been asked at these meetings a true number of Chris Rapetta's legal fees. And no one's ever been transparent enough to share that. But yet you've got, as a treasurer, and she's on, we call Chris Rapetta team. She allows people to come up here and quote numbers, which is the high point of their recall. He cost over $50,000 to the township. But yet, your petition says 30-something thousand. So knowingly being on a team that's giving misinformation, fraudulent information, saying that it was 50,000 when your petition says it was 30,000. Also saying that he had 2 cases and that he lost both. Well, there was one case. He didn't lose both cases. It was the same case. He was told to come back, that he filed it too soon. So I just think that under the circumstances, a treasurer that's been trained would know to not participate. And it's all recorded from your signing table. Your tables at your locations, it's recorded over and over again. And it's been recorded here by one of your top team members. $50,000, $50,000. If I were the treasurer, I would clear that up in a minute. And I'd make sure all my I's were dotted and T's were crossed. I would not be on a team that is misquoting fraudulent information as the high points of why he should be recalled. So I think your request should be denied.
Anybody else?
Good evening, Jeanette Ropetta, Tyrone Township resident. The trustee appointment to the vacant seat is up tonight. We already know who the status quo of 4 are going to vote for. You're going to vote for Zach Tucker. We also know that the voters of Tyrone Township already rejected him. Now, some of you may say he got the next highest number of votes during the primary. Really? That's a positive? He had served a full term on the board, but he couldn't even get enough votes to remain in the running. If he did such a good job, the people would have overwhelmingly put him near the top, at least in the top four, but they did not. So you can go through the motions tonight, but you will show the voters that once again, their voices are not actually being heard. Another item on the agenda tonight is the revision of the Code of Conduct, and I hope you do delay that. But what's kind of humorous is when watching past meetings, it's you, the board members on this 4, who have violated the Code of Conduct constantly. I don't need to point out those instances. We all know what they are, and so do you. But you want to change the rules anyway. And you want to change something that works perfectly fine. Greg, you just called people up tonight. That worked fine. Why do you want us to arrive early, fill out a card, identify ourselves, pre-declare our intent to speak, pre-declare what we want to speak about, all in order to be allowed to participate in our constitutional right to speak freely? There are a lot of problems with this. Number 1, it creates an unnecessary barrier between the people and their government. Public comment isn't a favor you grant. It's a fundamental part of open meetings. Number 2, it forces people to decide what they want to say before the meeting even happens. That's not how public discussion is supposed to work. Number 3, what about the second public comment period? So you arrive early to the meeting, you fill out this card, or you don't fill out a card. What if a topic comes up during the meeting that someone wants to respond to? Under this proposal, you have just eliminated their right to speak. So I've heard the argument that other entities do this. That doesn't make it right. It just means that those entities have not been challenged yet. Look it up. Several across the US, even in Michigan, have been challenged on this. You guys all know pretty much everyone in the room. They usually identify themselves voluntarily, although that should be their choice, not a requirement imposed by the board. Your effort to make people sign cards, it comes across as intimidation, another step and hurdle and layer between residents and the people elected to serve them. So I would strongly suggest this board think carefully about whether that's a challenge you really want. My final point is the board has already shown a willingness to disregard public participation. 2 meetings ago, when the agenda couldn't be approved, the meeting was canceled. I think Jim just mentioned it. Even after the roll call, that meeting, you gavelled it to, or it was a meeting. And you declared it a meeting, Mr. Supervisor, but then you ended it. And you disallowed our right to speak.
I know you guys don't really care for one of the residents that seems to be outspoken, but the man has done a lot of homework. And Greg, I really think that you owe it to some of the residents to ask that question so that we all understand, was our First Amendment right stolen from us two meetings ago? It's been stolen from us about 27 minutes if you go by the meetings that you were supposed to have that you canceled. So it'd really be nice if you would work for the residents and get that question answered for us. Appreciate it.
Anybody else? Yeah, John.
John Ward. In regards to new business, item 1, board trustee, interview and appointment, I recommend Zach Tucker. Unlike others, I don't know who you're going to pick, but I think he's done a really good job on the planning commission, did a good job when he was a trustee previously with his legal knowledge. He's very professional. After you guys get another trustee on the board, I think you really need to consider, soon getting ex officio to the planning commission. And if Zach Tucker was appointed, I think he would be a great appointment for the planning commission ex officio as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you, John. All right. Anybody else? All right.
Greg, before we move on, I guess listening to what Jim said, I guess I'm concerned if we did violate OIB rules. I guess I'd like Chuck to give us some explanation on the process we did, where we did talk about the point system in the process, if that was legal or not. If it wasn't, then I guess we need to know what we need to do to correct it, because if it was an illegal, a violation of OMA for doing it, then it shouldn't be standing. So we, at this point, would not be able to use that point system for interviewing. And I guess I need to know what the process is at this point. Did we violate? Is it legal?
I don't think you violated anything. Somebody would have to challenge that in court. I don't think a judge would reverse it. However, if the township wants to be safe, extra safe,
Hey.
somebody can make a motion right now, second the motion, adopt that procedure.
I guess I'm curious.
One more, Jim, and you're out.
Both.
I'd like to know
Zip it.
from the rest of the board what they think. I mean, again, I'm not one, I mean, I've already been censured once for violation, I guess for possibly violating. So, we have a resident now that says he believes we have. I think we need to correct it in whatever manner it takes to do that before we move on. And I know it's not something we want to do, but I think as a board, we owe it to the residents of this community to try to do things as upright as we're standing as we can.
And like I said, I don't think anything's going to happen with it, but if you want to play it, somebody make a motion to adopt the procedure, make a second, vote on it, and it's done.
We could also just interview him, and then I entertain a nomination,
You could do it that way too.
and forget the point system altogether.
Yep.
Well,
I don't need any more comments from the residents.
I think you do, because you keep breaking the law.
Ask him to leave.
Somebody's got to hold you accountable, Greg. Are you a lawyer? I can read the law.
Are you a lawyer?
He is.
I know how to read. And he didn't hold you the law.
One more, and you're out.
I think the question, Chuck, is have you read through section 41.72A?
I haven't tonight, no.
Okay. Can I give it to you and we take a moment?
Oh, I heard what it was read. I heard when it was read. And like I said, I don't think a judge is going to do anything about it. But if you want to be safe, somebody do a motion.
I would rather not I'd rather do it the right way if that's what it takes to do it. But, and again, it's not my decision, it's a board decision to do this one way or the other, but,
Or adopt whatever procedure you want to do to vote to fill the vacancy.
I do have a suggestion. I know I wasn't here for the last special meeting, but I do have maybe a recommendation we could consider and discuss. The applicants are here. They're listed in alphabetical order in the agenda. Instead of a point system or whatever, we could simply interview them in that order and then bring them back and vote on every single one of them in that order. And then whoever, if there's two people that get 4 votes, for example, we could then discuss, what we would do there. It's just similar to the point system.
I would entertain just interviewing them, and then we'll look for a nomination on one of them.
I don't like that, I'm sorry.
I think everyone should have a
You
chance
wanted to
be
interview
voted
them,
on.
here they are, let's interview them.
I think, I'm not arguing at all, I absolutely need to interview them, absolutely. no
Okay.
question. But I don't think one person being able to choose who they want to bring up here is the proper way to do it. I think it needs
Why?
to be.
We gotta vote on it. It's the same way with the point system, Dean.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You're
Okay.
gonna get the point system, and we're still gonna have to vote on it. And it's still gonna have to be 4-2, and I don't like having to talk over people. It's still gonna have to be a vote 4-2, because if all of them wind up 3-3, then we're right back here where we were.
Alrighty.
So,
And that's the way it works.
yeah,
I think
that's the way it works. That's democracy. So,
let's do everything in alphabetical order.
we're gonna
Interview
interview
in
them
alphabetical
in
order. bring them up in
alphabetical order, and then I will ask for a roll call vote on whoever you nominate.
Alrighty.
You're free to nominate whoever you want.
Well, Chuck, do we have to make a motion to change that, or do we just ignore the motion that was made at the last meeting? Because we did actually vote on that process.
If somebody wants to do the method that the supervisor just suggested, somebody should make a motion to approve it that way.
I'll make a
Second.
motion that we just nominate who we
After
want to
interview.
appoint after the interviews, and then it has to be a roll call.
And then a roll call vote.
Somebody seconds the,
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
No.
All right, motion carries.
No, I'm opposed, but
All right.
for the record.
Okay. So, I guess we'll
Unfinished business.
start with unfinished business. Fund balance policy amendments. We're gonna move that to,
I make a motion, we move that to the next meeting.
okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Best forum for determining board goals in the direction of the township?
Again, I'll make a motion to move that to the next meeting.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, slow down here.
Pardon?
Slow down for a minute so I can get
I'm
it
sorry.
shut down. Okay.
Code of conduct policy revisions.
I make a motion that we cancel this and not further discuss it in any meeting. As a reminder that these were presented based on the Lou Bender meeting at the end of July, which also violated the Open Meetings Act as far as deliberating toward, without being in a public meeting, to the outcome that's been presented here with these changes. So I make a motion to just cancel this completely. We just made a recommendation and voted on a new code of conduct less than a year ago. So we don't need to keep changing the code of conduct every year. It's not necessary, and it's a waste of the township's time, and it's also a waste of, putting a bigger barrier between the public and this board when we're trying to mend fences, as I've heard all of you say.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion to remove that. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay. Nay. So I have a question here. I was not here at the December 2nd meeting, but it was stated the Code of Conduct policy revisions that the supervisor asked trustees Hawes and Repeta to make a list of their suggested revisions and bring to the next meeting. So my question is, what happened with that?
At the next meeting, I found no revisions needed and came to the conclusion that since we just, everything that I had just said, we don't need another code of conduct since we just increased one.
Well, I think it's going to stay on because it's 3-3 tie, so stays on. Okay, number 4.
We gotta look at it. We have to discuss the code of conduct.
Well, are you ready to discuss it?
Yeah. So the changes were in red. What don't we agree with? So the
All of
first
it.
one in C, all persons attending will be respectful to all attendants before, during, and after the meetings, including the board.
That was already in there.
That was already
Yeah.
in there. A, all
So
persons attending
let's not talk
will
about the
refrain.
things that were already in there.
No, C was not, all red were changes.
I-
Added or changes.
You asked the question, what don't you like? And the answer is, I believe we don't need any changes to the current code of conduct. That's it. I don't like any of the changes recommended.
Well, I disagree with you, so
Okay.
can we compromise?
Nope.
So what is
I'm
wrong
not
with
willing
that
to
statement?
compromise my value
No.
on violating the First Amendment rights of the people who want to speak in public and putting an extra burden on people. I'm not willing to compromise
Okay, if
those.
you don't want to do the card system, then we'll discuss that and go back to what it was. That's fine. But can't we have that discussion up here? It's not your decision to make or my decision to make,
I'm
correct?
simply telling you what my opinion is, as you asked.
Let's look. Are you okay with C? All persons attending be respectful to all in attendance before, during, and after all meetings. Are you okay with that?
No, and here's why. If you treat people with disrespect, you want me to respect you in return. That's an abuse of authority. So respect is something that's earned. It's not something that's demanded by a board and by a resolution. It's something that we're taught by our parents to respect people, to give some level of dignity.
All right, you're
right
not
up
in
front.
agreement with that. Okay, how about the next one?
Very good.
A.
And please don't cut
Persons
me off when I'm
wish-
speaking, Greg. Please.
You go on, and it's like,
It's just
Yeah,
right to.
it's my right to go on when asked what my opinion is about it. It's not your right to interrupt me
Go.
and stop it.
go.
All right. Dean, are you all right with that statement?
A, no, not at all.
C.
C? No, I agree with Chris.
Okay, I'm okay with it. Are you okay with C? You guys
Trustee
okay?
Ferguson?
Here's my opinion on code of conduct. It doesn't matter what you have when you can't enforce it.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody's disruptive and stuff, it's nothing. It's like having a kid, you say no, 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 no to, and nothing happens. So I'm not even gonna vote on it, because it's not enforceable. Is there anything we can do to enforce this, Chuck, with C, if somebody disrupts the meeting?
I think what we've seen from our court system, that they are not inclined to enforce this.
So why have a code of conduct?
Or at least the one we got's fine.
Why have anyone, Dean? I
can't
mean,
argue with
there's
you.
nothing.
Can't argue with you.
I mean, you got
My
rules.
Isn't it really truly code of conduct? Isn't it just about respecting each other, coming in and doing our jobs? So why do we need anything? I agree 100%.
That's why I agree with you.
You know, we treat them with respect, they treat us with
All right.
respect. We understand what they want, and we try to do what's right for the community.
And even if they
Simple as
don't,
that.
even if they don't, and you ask them not to, and they keep going, what are you gonna do to enforce it? They stay right there and do the same thing.
You know what we do?
What's that?
We try to do the right thing so they're not doing it.
Or when it happens and it's disruptive, we dismiss the meeting, end it. Is that a violation for any First Amendment right
No,
when
it's
people
not.
are disruptive and you take and end the meeting, because I've talked to other supervisors, that's what they do.
It's not a violation of the First Amendment rights. They can go outside and say anything they want.
But if it keeps happening, we have the right to dismiss and end the meetings, correct?
You can yes, you can adjourn the meeting.
And you have a lot of residents that think it is a violation. Is it a violation of their First Amendment right?
No, but the meeting is being disrupted, you can adjourn the meeting.
All right, thank you.
All right,
I personally don't think that's the best way to handle
No,
conflict.
I don't.
No, I don't either.
I know what you're saying.
Should we just
I know where
leave
you're
it?
going with it. Yep.
should we just leave it on there for right now? We'll talk about it again next.
Yeah. No, I don't, you know,
Let's,
no, I mean, we got a 3-3 on everything from what I can see.
Yeah.
We want
All
it
right.
off, you guys don't want to accept, and you guys want to make changes. So, I don't know where Herm's at it, but, you know,
I agreed with you and Chris.
yeah. So, we're at a 3-3, so I guess it doesn't come off when we don't discuss it.
yep.
So we'll move on.
Moving on to number 4, the open burning ordinance amendments. I've included the reference letter from Fire Chief Kerendorf and his recommendation that we keep the 3-acre minimum and that we keep the campfire ring or recreational fire at 3 feet. And those were the two that were in question. And so I would entertain a motion to
I disagree with him.
adopt that draft ordinance.
I think we need more discussion.
I think we'd a lot more discussion. I'd like to see some from Heartland. I understand, I'm nothing against the Fenton Police Department or Fire Department, but they're not the ones that are main supporters. It's Heartland. I'd like to get some response from Heartland.
Well, Dean, didn't you bring up the fact that I've seen yours, it's 3 feet is,
I agree, yeah, but, you know, I'll take some additional, you know, I personally think, 3-foot fire ring is too small. I think I mean, I'd be willing to go to, split the difference between 3 and 6 and go, 4.5 or 5. And as far as the acreage, same thing, I think, 3 acres is ridiculous. I mean, I'd like 1, but I would go with 1.5. We'll split the difference between 0 and 3, which is 1.5.
I will get some input from Heartland and Fenton Township.
Yeah, I would love that. I know that last time, Craig, we had talked about, a couple times ago, you mentioned Heartland wasn't available, but perhaps in this new year, they would make themselves available for a meeting, and the Fenton Township, because they're the ones enforcing it.
Yep.
And I do highly respect Fire Chief Karen does
I
as
do
well.
too.
So
Absolutely.
it's not about his
Absolutely, we
inputs,
appreciate the
but
time you did
yeah,
come and spend with
absolutely.
us.
I will get Deerfield, Heartland Deerfield Fire Authority and the Fenton Township gentlemen in here.
I'd also like to say that we have the acreage, we still have boundaries set of how far away you have to be from neighboring property dwellings and other things that don't require an acreage thing. We've got both, which is sort of like double taxation. You get it twice. We also have a code in here that defines the size of the actual fire itself to be limited to 2 feet by 3 feet. In that sense. So having a 5-foot or 6-foot ring doesn't really make that much of a difference if we have a fire that's compact and controlled in that little area. So these are additional things that I think are doubling up on the actual ordinance and being simple. And we're trying to make this simple and explainable to the people of our township that we're holding responsible to it.
Especially when we're adhering such huge fines to them when they don't do it. We're not talking, you break the ordinance $100, they're telling us $1,500. That's a big burden.
I just want to point out, Trustee Haas, that it's not a fine. That is the cost that the township receives an invoice from the fire department, $1,587. It's not a fine.
It's a
It's a
penalty
fee.
because they violated the ordinance.
Right.
That's a penalty or fine would be an appropriate financial term for a financial penalty would be a fine.
It is not a fine. It is the cost that it costs the township
Taxpayers.
to pay
Yeah,
the
who
fire
already pay
department.
on their taxes for fire.
All right, well, like I said, I'll get the other two fire chiefs to weigh in.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, so we'll move on to new business. And we will start with interviewing the trustee candidates. We have 5 candidates: Erica Hammond, Brad Jacob, Elizabeth Petrie, Bridget Rice, and Zach Tucker. And I guess we will start with the first candidate, Erica Hammond, and the rest, we would ask that you excuse yourselves to the lobby. We'll call you in one at a time.
You don't mind if we close the door just for
You
purposes
cannot,
of
you
discussion?
cannot close the door.
Can they go in the conference
Violation.
room?
No.
Okay, no problem.
Erica, I have a list of the questions here, written, and, but I will read them as well, okay? All right. The first question is, tell us a bit about yourself and what motivated you to apply for this position.
Okay, well, I've lived in Tyrone Township for about 28, maybe 29 years. I really look at it as an opportunity to be a little more proactive in our township, a little more proactive in our local government, maybe be a little bit better example for my kids of how to do this when they're grown, living on their own, when they want to be a little more proactive in their local government.
All right, thank you. Number 2, what do you believe are the most important responsibilities of a township trustee?
Well, I believe that you all were elected to represent the residents of this township, to take care of their tax money, to communicate with them, transparency, and create a rapport with the residents of this township, and general oversight of this community.
What experience in your work life or volunteer service or community involvement has prepared you for this role?
Okay, so I started out my career as a legal assistant, so that really gave me, every job that I've had has brought me to where I am today. So I started out as a legal assistant, and then we opened our business in 2005. So we've been business owners, my husband and I, for about 21 years. So I certainly think that would help. And also, I have volunteered on several boards. I was part of the HIA board in our local community in Heartland. I was on the football board as the treasurer for a number of years. I was on the the Heartland Youth Lacrosse Board as a merchandiser, and I also was on the executive board for HIA for a while, where we would review bylaws and finances and budgets and that type of thing. So certainly being a business owner would give me a lot of perspective, I think. And, you know, that's where most of my experience comes from.
All right. How do you approach decision-making when residents are divided on an issue?
Yeah, well, honestly, you have to listen to both sides of any argument. You really have to take the emotion out of it. Learned that through our years of running a business. You have to take the emotion out of things. Listen to both sides. Try to come to a discerning, rational compromise. Maybe appeal to someone's better nature. And, you know, try to come somewhere in between resolve the situation amicably so that emotions don't get out of hand.
That kind of answers the next question. How do you handle situations where you disagree with other board members?
Yeah, I mean, you have to have an open mind.
Yeah.
You have to listen to people, because if you shut them down and you don't hear them out, then emotions start to get high, and then you can't resolve things because they're not hearing you anymore.
Number 6, what is your understanding of transparency laws such as the Open Meetings Act and the Freedom of Information Act?
So I believe that those are set up to promote transparency, to promote accountability, and to promote a general public that is educated and knows what they're talking about. And they can do the research for themselves so they know firsthand.
How would you ensure you are accessible and responsive to the residents?
I mean, I would probably do the same thing I do every single day of my life. You know, answer my phone, answer my emails, speak to people, you know, talk about their concerns, resolve what I can, you know, be accessible for them to ask questions, and do my best to find the answer if I don't know it, or answer it if I do.
Do you have any potential conflicts of interest or affiliations the board should be aware of?
I do not. I do not. Although I will say we have run a business for many, many years, but I have never had any affiliation with anybody in Tyrone Township.
If appointed, how would you get up to speed on the current township issues and ongoing projects?
Well, I am already at every meeting of the township board, main board, and the ones I cannot make, which are rare, I watch. So I'm pretty well up to speed with what's been happening for years and years now.
Can you describe a time you had to remain calm and professional in a challenging situation?
I do it every day of my life. So yes, of course. I mean, when I started my career as a legal assistant, I worked in bankruptcy, which is often a very low point for people, so things would get very contentious. And I worked for a bankruptcy trustee, so, you know, people had to come in front of the trustee to explain their finances, and that can get a little uncomfortable for them. And certainly being on these boards at these athletic fields, believe it or not, there are parents that will come to fisticuffs on the field, and you have to be calm, and you have to talk to them and diffuse the situation and listen to people and be open-minded enough to try to come to some compromise and resolution. And I do it every day of my life, so I think I'm pretty fair and level-headed and discerning and competent in that avenue.
Okay, next question. What party are you affiliated with?
If I was ever going to run for office, I would be a Republican. I would run as a Republican.
Okay. Does your current job require regular out-of-town travel?
Unfortunately not. We're pretty tied to our business. We have a hard time even getting off to a fun family vacation, so no.
Do you have, I think you already answered this, do you have
Sure.
any affiliation with current or previous administration or board members?
No, I mean, I know people. I've met almost all of you and spoken to almost all of you. And like I said, we've been in business for many years, so we may have even powder coated for many businesses and homeowners in the area. So, but no affiliations. We don't have any ties in that way.
In your opinion, what is the single most significant issue facing our township?
Yeah. Well, honestly, I would like to say that it's the sheer velocity at which the solar farms and, you know, gravel pits and mining and battery storage and all these things, data centers that are coming at us 100 miles an hour. But I also think there's a very acute problem, which is the rapport and connection between the board itself and the residents that sit in this room.
What support will you need to be an effective trustee?
Honestly, I'm not sure what support I would need. I thought about that question. I guess all I would need would be, some open-mindedness as far as my fellow board members if I were
Support of
sitting
the board
there, so that
members.
we could have open, candid
That's the
conversations.
answer. Support of the board members. That's the answer. Do you have any experience with township, county, planning, and zoning boards?
I do not.
Okay. All right. That's it.
That's it?
That's
Okay, well, thank you for having me.
All right, would you have Brad Jacob come in, please?
Do you want me to run that again?
Well,
Who are you asking?
Thanks,
Ryan.
thanks, Ryan.
Yeah.
You may?
Fine, yeah.
Yeah, you may. Hello? Oh, here's a
Do you want a set of the questions
list
we're
of the
asking?
questions.
Sure.
I'll still be reading them to you, but
Right on.
there they are in front of you as well. All right, starting with number one, tell us a bit about yourself and what motivated you to apply for this position.
Well, I have served the city of Fenton since 2009. I enjoy the work. I think it's worth it to do. And I think that it takes a certain temperament, or we're all strong personalities or else we wouldn't be here. But I care about the process that goes into making a municipality or a township or, run well. There are things that I think are important. I think most people just want to be left alone, and hopefully if they're not hurting anybody, that can continue. I think rules are important, and I don't take things personally, and I think I have the skin for it. So.
All right, what do you believe are the most important responsibilities of a township trustee?
Well, I would say it is your responsibility to be as informed as you possibly can on every topic that comes before you. Your goal should be the most informed people in the township on those topics. And so I believe that if you don't do that, you definitely haven't even begun to do your job. So I'm gonna say right there, that is the most important responsibility. There are others, but I think that's the most important.
What experience in your work life, volunteer service, or community involvement has prepared you for this role?
Well, you've all seen the resume, I guess, up there. I have served on Fenton City Council since 2009. I recently resigned when I moved to the township. I have 3 times endorsed from the Chamber of Commerce. I was not endorsed the first time I ran because they didn't know me and I didn't have anything to run on. But the other 3 times I ran and won, I had the endorsement of the Chamber of Commerce. I have served on the zoning board, the Parks and Rec, the library, fire board, the Industrial Facilities Tax Exemption Committee. Representing the city with the MML, I was on the Economic Development Committee, Transportation Committee. I was a founding member of the I-69 International Trade Corridor Committee, which is a group that operated to facilitate favorable trade conditions for the I-69 trade corridor that actually goes from Canada to Mexico, but we only formed to take care of our little bit here in Michigan. And we worked with all the communities within that group to create a database of commercial properties and help connect those to the industries who wanted those. We facilitated tax exemption opportunities for investment that were usually short-term in return for significant investments. I am also on the founding board for the Water Trail Coalition, which is every community from Holly to I think up by on the other side of like Montrose, Chesaning. So it was a wonderful cooperative effort. I was the chairperson of the Keepers of Shiawassee, a private 501c3 that helps to clean the river, facilitate improvements along its path. And I hate bees. I stutter on bees, so it's a little thing left over from when I was a kid. And there's also a local music festival that we do in the area every year that I'm also very proud of. That it's a food drive, a commitment that we raise a ton of money for local food pantries. But I'll leave that, out of the. So out of those, I think I've done pretty good on working with a lot of different people in a lot of different capacities. I feel like I'm a good problem solver, and my priority is to build quality relationships with the people I work with. So hopefully that's something.
How do you approach decision-making when residents are divided on an issue?
Well, like I say, the first responsibility is to be informed. So if you're making everybody happy, you're lying to somebody. And that's, I believe that. On most issues, there are more than one side to them. So if you are making a decision that somebody is not happy with, you should be able to justify that decision clearly and plainly and with some reasonable rationale.
How do you handle situations where you disagree with board members?
Like I say, I don't take it personally. I always try to look for some kernel of something that I can, what can we start with that we agree with? And let's go from there, build outward from there. Sometimes you're at a stalemate on something and you have to take a vote. And as long as, like I say, as long as the decisions can be made in a rational manner, and they are, even if you don't agree, you can still disagree with something and have a proper decision. And when you do that, you own it as a board. You have to take the responsibility as a board. I firmly believe that. That's something that I've always used as a guiding principle.
What is your understanding of transparency laws such as the Open Meetings Act and the Freedom of Information Act?
People have a right to say what they want to say, and you have to take it. You don't lock the door. Every meeting you have where you have a discussion or a vote, they have an opportunity to witness that and speak up. On occasions that, in my experience, when you are having like a closed session, there's only 3 reasons. One was to get a legal opinion. One was the sale of property, because it might influence the prices, and that's not good for the taxpayers. Or labor negotiations, which I'm not, those are always something. But no votes are ever taken, no notes are ever taken, and when a vote has to be taken, you reconvene, you explain the position, you reestablish to the public what you're doing, and then you take the vote in public. I mean, there's more to it, but other than that, I think that's the basic gist of it.
How would you ensure you are accessible and responsive to the residents?
Anybody's free to, sometimes as a council member, it was tough to go to the grocery store and get to the bread and the eggs without being stopped and addressed about any number of topics. You have to make yourself accessible, both by phone and email. For one, I loved meeting with people, having coffee not constantly, but I would do like spells where I would make myself available at a certain time at a local coffee shop and advertise it and say, hey, I'm going to be there between these hours, and if you want to come talk to me, come talk to me. And I've always done that the other way. If I have a question, I will call the people I need to talk to, and I'll sit down and have coffee with them. I think it's the best way to get to know somebody or have them understand where you're at.
Do you have any potential conflicts of interest or affiliations the board should be aware of?
Nope.
If appointed, how would you get up to speed on current township issues and ongoing projects?
I would expect to have a meeting with every officer that's here and any relevant employees, and be able to speak to them about any projects up and coming, any issues, what their positions are on things, and I would expect that I would have a sit down or coffee with each one of you. And let's talk about what's important to you, and I want to get up to speed as fast as possible. I'm ready to do that on day one.
Can you describe a time you had to remain calm and professional in a challenging situation?
I'm generally a pretty calm person. I try not to react immediately to things. Nothing really jumps out at me as far as the public meetings. I've had sometimes in the 501c3s are probably some of the most challenging times I've had, because people don't understand Robert's rules, orders of how things are supposed to happen. Those types of issues where I've had to, okay, this person is inexperienced in this, and I have to clear my mind a little bit and make sure that they, but in the public sphere, I've generally, like I say, I don't take this personally. I'm a pretty calm person. I'm pretty thick-skinned. I've been doing this for a long time, and it just I don't get excited up there.
Next question, what party are you affiliated with?
I have no party affiliation.
Okay. Does your current job require regular out-of-town travel?
No, it does not.
Do you have any affiliation with current or previous administration or board members of Tyrone Township?
Not professionally. There's a couple of you I know personally on a friendly level, but nothing, we're not intertwined in any way.
Yeah. In your opinion, what is the single most significant issue facing our township?
Probably data centers are going to be big coming up. I think those are going to be problematic, and I think they are horrible for the people that are here, and I think that probably different land use issues that change the character of the township. I know there's a difference between being in the city and being out here in the rural. I know I've spent some time in the city, but I was raised in the township atmosphere, and I've owned homes in the township atmosphere. I understand that there's a way of life out here that is different than when you're living right next to each other in the close proximity of a city. So we need to respect each other's space, and land use issues are going to be probably the most important thing coming up.
What support will you need to be an effective trustee?
A free flow of information back to me when I need it, and I'd like to, like I said, to take the opportunity to meet and talk with each one of you to help me get up to speed on all of the important issues.
Support of the board.
Yeah, support of the board, support of the employees, the administration. So.
Do you have, well, you already answered this, you do have experience on the planning?
Yes, and well, I have not served on planning commission in particular. However, we had a great relationship with our planning commission. They went very much, it was a back and forth. I understand their role, and I also, serving on the ZBA, gave me an opportunity to understand the some of the decisions that were made by the previous council with the master plan and with the appropriate board, the planning commission. So,
Yep.
so I've it's not that I don't understand exactly what happens there.
All right,
Thank you.
that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Ryan. Deputy Hale.
Elizabeth.
Yep, Elizabeth Petrie.
Good evening.
Hi, Elizabeth. Oh, I'm sorry. I have a copy of the questions.
Oh,
You'd
okay.
like? In written form in front of you there. I'll still be asking you, but. All right. Start with, tell us a bit about yourself and what motivated you to apply for this position.
Well, my name is Liz Petrie. I grew up in Michigan, spent a couple years in North Carolina when my husband served in the military. I've always kind of cared about where I lived, cared about the things that are going on. It's always been really important to me. I find it interesting when it's not important to other people. When my husband was in the military, I volunteered with Family Readiness because I cared about the families in our unit. Currently, I volunteer with a lot of different places like the Fenton's Arts Council. I do a lot of their graphic work. I spend the summer doing art with kids during family nights. So having lived in Tyrone Township for, I think, 7 years now, I feel called to care about the other people around me, to be a younger person involved in the government, to be involved in the area around me. I come to things like this, or I went to the MOP board meeting, and I see a lot of people older than me, which is great, a lot of people with great knowledge. And I think that more people my age need to get involved, need to know what's going on locally, and need to learn from the people who are more experienced to be a voice in the community.
All right, thank you. What do you believe are the most important responsibilities of a township trustee?
Well, certainly following the law, that's very important. When it comes to bylaws and things like that, things have a way that they are done, and if you don't agree with them, there's a way to go about changing them, and I think that those exist for a reason. I also believe that being on the township board, I assume that everyone there cares about the people locally, that you care about the people around you, and I care about the people around me. So I think that doing right by the citizens, I mean, sure, we all have our own convictions, but more than an individual, the desires, the rights of the people of a township are what's most important.
What experience in your work life, volunteer service, or community involvement has prepared you for this role?
I'm sure I'm probably one of the least experienced candidates that you have up here, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. But I've learned about talking with people. I was on the board of the Fenton Arts Council for a little while, and you have conversations with people who feel differently, who think differently. And so trying to get along, trying to understand where everyone's coming from, to come to an agreement. And that's been a volunteer position. Because for me, these types of things, it's not about becoming some sort of career politician or anything like that. It's about service. And like I said, when I worked with the Family Readiness, one of the things that we organized was dinner in the barracks, because it was important for us, especially prior to deployments and things like that, that we felt connected, that we operated on a close network. Even just being a cosmetologist and doing hair, you have to learn how to listen to what people are saying. You'll have people say, I just don't like this. And you have to figure out what it is that they're talking about, what it is that they really mean. What are they trying to get across? What is their primary concern, and how to figure that out? Because when it comes to people, when it comes to other people you work with, it's not always so clear. And so you have to be able to say, what is it that you really want here? What is the solution that you really need? And I think that from a customer service standpoint, it's a little bit similar in that way. You have a lot of people that you're trying to make happy, and you're not going to win every time. You got to roll with that. But as long as the people believe that you're doing what's best for them, and that's how you get clients. If I maybe don't do exactly what someone wants with their hair, if we have a developed repertoire and they understand I'm always having their best interest, and then that develops a strong relationship, whether you make a choice that they don't always agree with.
How do you approach decision-making when residents are divided on an issue?
I think that when it comes to division, everybody's got something, that base thing that they are concerned about, the most important priority. And like I said, sometimes it doesn't sound like what they're saying. Well, I don't want this, I don't want that. What is the primary concern? Even with a board disagreement, what is it that you're concerned about? Is it that we aren't following what we're supposed to follow? Is it that we're not doing right by the people around there? And I think that when it comes to disagreements, a lot of people are more apt to collaborate together if they feel that they're understood, if they feel that you're trying to understand what their base concern is. If the concern is, I did this and this is how things are supposed to go, and that's fair and that's relevant. And understanding, well, what is the primary motivation and what is the most important thing that we need to be doing right now? And I think that in any situation that finding common ground is the best way to be most effective.
How do you handle situations where you disagree with other board members?
Like I said, hearing them out and making sure that I'm as clear as I can be with what my concern is, what the base issue is, what the primary motivation is. Once you kind of understand that, and I have kids, I have a spouse, your kids try to get along. Well, so-and-so did this, so-and-so did that, this and that happened. Even just coworkers or working in a board space, understanding that base concern and hearing it. Really hearing it and showing respect. I think that is so important. Even in your personal relationships, if, you're cutting people off, talking over people are going to feel a way about that. And that makes communication very, very difficult. Making sure you listen, really listen, not just be quiet while they're talking, but truly hear, and then asking, clarifying, what is your concern here? What is it that you want to get out of this? What is the resolution that you'd like to see happen? What in a perfect scenario, does this look like for you? And I think asking those clarifying questions and really listening is a great way to come to that common ground, especially understanding that everyone, at least that's my assumption, I try to go in with the assumption that everyone that I'm with, like on a board, everyone wants to do the right thing. Everyone is in that position, like the Fenton Arts Council. The main goal is to bring art and to do good things. And with a township board, your goal is to govern and do what's best for the people. And I assume that of everyone on the board, that your primary concern is the people, no matter the disagreement.
What is your understanding of transparency laws such as the Open Meetings Act and the Freedom of Information Act?
As far as the Open Meetings Act goes, I've heard a lot about that, even just in the few meetings that I've attended, that the public has a right to know what's going on. The public has a right to see how things are done, and done open and in the public. And it is important to make sure that the public feels like they can trust you. As far as the Freedom of Information Act, I can't say I'm as familiar with that personally. However, I believe that that is something that can be learned.
How would you ensure you are accessible and responsive to residents?
I am sure that the people on the board presently have modes that they feel are best and more unique. Again, as someone who has no experience in this situation, I would defer to the ways in which the board members say, well, this is how people like to get in contact with me. This is a way that people say they have a difficulty getting a hold of me. Or, I offered this and people don't really use that to get a hold of me. And I think being responsive and timely, let's say it's email, you don't want to leave people hanging. You want to make sure that, people know how to reach you, when to reach you, and how long to expect a response.
Do you have any potential conflicts of interest or affiliations the board should be aware of?
Not that I'm aware of.
If appointed, how would you get up to speed on current township issues and ongoing projects?
I would hope that fellow board members would direct me to the areas in which I can find that information. There is a lot available on the website. I do follow news articles on things that are happening, obviously, in the community where I live. But I would assume that the board would have those type of resources available, and I would make it obviously my priority to go through them and be aware of them and ask any questions that I felt unclear about.
Can you describe a time you had to remain calm and professional in a challenging situation?
I was working at a salon. It's Salon Envy in Fenton. And a couple of the stylists were out on, I think it was like a continuing education type of thing, like a weekend at somewhere. And we tried to make sure we called everybody to let them know that, hey, your stylist is going to be out of town, let's move your appointment. Well, there was one woman we couldn't get a hold of. And I was like the only person there. It was me and one other woman. And this woman had driven like an hour. And I told her, we tried to call you, but your stylist isn't available. She was upset. She was mad. She had driven an hour. It was during the holiday season. She really needed her hair done. And I remained calm. I said, you know what? I can help you out. I will do it. I was like, what do you need? She's like, you know what? Honestly, I just need my bangs trimmed. And she was frustrated that she wasted her time. She felt like her time wasn't valuable. And we were booth rent, so you get paid individually. And I said, you know what? I'll do it. No charge at all. You drove all this way. This was such a hassle. I feel really bad. So I cut her bangs for her. She hugged me and insisted on paying me. And it's because I listened to her. I understood that she was mad. I understood that she was frustrated. And I could have said, you know what? That's not my fault. That's not my fault. I'm not your stylist. It's kind of your fault that your number's not here. You're not going to talk to me like that. I didn't say any of that. I listened. I was kind. I was understanding. And she was happy. If you just listen to people and let them feel like you're listening to them, it makes such a difference. It really does. And I do have hand tattoos, and they say kindness. And it's to remind me that in every situation you go into, approaching it with kindness is never going to make that situation worse. It's going to diffuse so many situations in any aspect of your life.
Thank you. What party are you affiliated with?
I would say loosely, I'm a Democrat. I mean, I'm not the type of person who's going to adhere to a specific party line per se, but I would say loosely Democrat.
Does your current job require regular out-of-town travel?
No, I am not currently employed. I am a student at Mott Community College.
Do you have any affiliation with current or previous administration or board member of township?
I do not.
Members of township? In your opinion, what is the single most significant issue facing the township?
Trust. I feel that, just from what I've heard in the past couple of meetings, that there's sort of a disconnect between how the people feel and how they feel about the members of the board. And that's not to say that, that's not to place blame anywhere. Sometimes that's simply just a miscommunication. And so I think that developing trust, making, that feeling where, I may not agree with every decision you make, but I know that when you approach it, you're trying to do what's best for the township. And again, I'm not saying that nobody is, but there's just that appearance and feeling. Perception is reality, and how people feel can deeply influence their thoughts about whether something is right or isn't right, whether it legitimately is or isn't. So I think that just kind of making sure that people feel that they can trust their government.
What support will you need to be an effective trustee?
Definitely the support of the board members. If I'm on the board, I would hope that the other board members want to ensure that I am well prepared to be a working and effective member of the board, that I'm up to date on the things, that I understand how things typically operate, and I understand the things that have been tried, haven't tried, things that have been done, things like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have been coworkers for quite a minute. And I think that developing that trust between members is very important.
And I asked you this last question, but I
You know the
have
answer.
any experience with township, county, or any other planning and zoning boards?
Not yet, I do not.
All righty. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You gotta go to the restroom? All right.
Bridget, tell Bridget it's her turn.
Yeah. If,
Before she sits down. Questions?
oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Hey, Bridget, here's a list of questions in written form for you. Trustee Ferguson had to step out for a second.
Okay, so we're gonna pause.
We're in a pause.
Fair enough, fair enough.
All righty.
All right.
All right, can you tell us a bit about yourself and what motivated you to apply for this position?
So I'm a Tyrone Township resident for the last 10 years. Have been coming to the meetings and watching old recordings and things like that online, and piqued my interest. I think it's important that in our community, we maintain the rural farm town, and I'm concerned about some of the things that they're trying to bring in. I would like to be a part of the process, and I think I can be helpful based on my background in leadership and the career that I've had so far.
What do you believe are the most important responsibilities of a township trustee?
First and foremost, I think representing the residents. You have to listen to the residents. We need to understand what the concerns are, and we need to represent the people who sit behind us, the folks that are online. We really need to work hard for the residents and create that cohesiveness as we follow the ordinances and the laws that are before us through the state and federal level.
What experience in your work life, your volunteer service, community involvement has prepared you for this role?
So I'm going to be really frank. I do not have a background in politics, okay? I have been with the same organization for 31 years. 27 of those years I've been in a leadership position. The last 18 years I have been a manager leader in our IT portion of the organization. I lead very large-scale complex IT projects. I manage staff. I have experience with managing budgets, right down to the number of AA batteries we're going to buy for the year, that type of a thing. So I think that in that leadership role, especially in the IT environment where you're having to make very rapid decisions that impact thousands of people, that it lends itself to the types of decision-making process that's happening here as you're considering the things that are being brought before you, listening to both sides, listening to understand, and then making a decision that is hopefully mutually beneficial to all of those involved.
How do you approach decision-making when residents are divided on an issue?
I think first we need to understand that and agree that we're never going to agree on everything all the time, right? We're going to have that conflict. I think it's important to listen to understand. I think it's important to remain calm, cool, and collected. Leave the emotions at the door, right? We need to really apply logic and reason and step through it, gather all of the information, and go forward from there. We have to represent the people, but we need to be kind and compassionate and understanding in the process.
How do you handle situations where you disagree with other board members?
So I think it's a lot of the same thing, right, as it is with the residents. Calm, cool, collected, listening to understand, making sure that we're applying logic and reason and not being emotionally charged. I will tell you that in my career in leadership for so many years, there's power in the pause. You have to stop sometimes, pause and breathe before responding. And that can do a lot with really calming down the conflict and allowing people to speak their mind and be heard. And if people feel like they're being heard, even if they don't get what they're looking for sometimes, it goes a long way to getting their buy-in.
What is your understanding of transparency laws such as the Open Meetings Act and the Freedom of Information Act?
Yeah, so the Open Meetings Act, as I understand it, is this group can't talk without being in the public forum, right? We have to have the time for the public to speak. We have to have the agenda, follow the agendas and all of the things. The Freedom of Information Act is responding to requests for records. When those are requested, it has to be requested in writing. And there is a time limit on how much time it takes to provide that information. So very high level understanding of those at this point. I'm sure that if I were selected for the position, that I would learn a whole lot more.
How would you ensure you are accessible and responsive to the residents?
So I assume there's email addresses. I've heard conversations that you guys have had at prior meetings about that, and that residents can reach out via the email addresses. Can I ask questions as we go? Is that all right?
Sure.
Phone numbers, like is each person assigned a phone number or anything like that? Like, how does that work from a communication
Trustees
perspective?
don't have a township phone.
Gotcha, okay.
By board vote decision.
Say that one more
By
time.
board decision.
Okay,
This board voted not to provide all the trustees phones or laptops, but we do have emails.
okay. So I think the email would be that option, right?
Yeah.
Being available before and after meetings and, other forms of contact, I think it's important to be available.
Do you have any potential conflicts of interest or affiliations the board should be aware of?
No, there's nothing there.
If appointed, how would you get up to speed on current township issues and ongoing projects?
So I mentioned that I've been listening to some of the old meeting recordings, looking at agendas, minutes, those types of things. Have been going back through that online to educate myself, and that includes not just the board meetings, but the planning commission meetings as well. The way my brain works based on how I've operated in my career, it prompted me to kind of start a list of, here are the issues, and it was deferred for this reason for this long. So I would expect it to come back to the list on the agenda, given the time frame that's listed there. So I would continue to go through and watch those old meetings and videos and things to try to get up to speed with that. Meet and greets, introductions, getting to know people. Many of you probably had no idea who I was before I walked up here tonight. So I think it's important to establish those relationships and have those types of meet and greet. I understand from my research that there's orientation and training through the Michigan Township Association. I don't know if that's something that you all support or if you've had the opportunity to do that. I would be looking for those types of opportunities if available. And then I would also be asking questions about what type of onboarding process do you have currently? What type of onboarding have you all received? And how can I plug in with you so that I can be supportive and productive as quickly as possible?
Can you describe a time you had to remain calm and professional in a challenging situation?
So I mentioned I work in healthcare IT. One of the things that I do is I serve as a manager on call. Manager on call is paged any time of the day or night when you're up for your turn. And that includes joining what we call disruption bridge line when there are system disruptions or outages. So this is hospital healthcare system, something's down, it's slow, it's not working, and clinicians and other caregivers can't do their jobs effectively to provide care to patients potentially, right? Depending on what it is. In that process, you're leading a phone call that has a lot of technical teams, including vendors. So I have experience with vendor management, vendor relationship management. The communication for those outages it's email documentation that goes out to over 80,000 individuals. So just hitting send on the email makes you sweat bullets, right? Not only the fact that we're trying to bring these systems back online as quickly as possible. So manager on call is making sure that you have the right people on the phone, they're having the right conversations, and we're making headway to resolve the incident. I've been involved in some that are a half hour. I've been involved in some that are days on end. So that can be very stressful. So that would be one example. The other example, again in IT, one of the things that I do, we call it cutover. So we're taking them off an old computer system, we're putting them on a new computer system. As people are learning new computer systems for their jobs, that can cause a lot of anxiety, a lot of angst. So there's a lot of people and change leadership that goes with those conversations as you help them walk through that. The weekend that event happens is extremely time sensitive. Things need to happen in a certain sequence. There's a lot of people, a lot of participants, and it has to go on without a hitch. Otherwise, we start having problems. So those are two examples just based on my career where it's high stakes, high stress.
Next question, what party are you affiliated with?
I would say independent, conservative Christian values.
Okay. Does your current job require regular out-of-town travel?
Regular, no. Some out-of-town travel. The only thing I have on the radar right now is a Wednesday to Sunday trip, the end of February. I have moved to a new position and should be traveling less. However, I get the call sometimes that says, hey, you did this successfully a few times now, can you come help us? You probably remember from my email when the notice came out about interviews at the last meeting, I was like, I'm sorry, I'm in Chicago. So I do have one more trip to Chicago planned. I don't have any others on the radar at this point. But if they call, I need to go.
Could happen, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any affiliation with current or previous administration or board members of Tyrone Township?
I would say no in terms of affiliation. I'll be honest, I live on the same road as Herm, but I mean, we.
Condolences.
He lives down at the dead end. I live closer to the main road. Like, no offense, Herm, but I would say we're not affiliated. I mean, we wave at each other on the road as we pass, but.
With all fingers.
Good to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she doesn't live in the house that I built on that road.
Yeah, she does.
No,
Wait,
I
what?
looked.
Yeah, she does.
She does?
She bought it from Wicks.
No way.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I thought I looked.
You built that house?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have some work with you
You should have shut your
That house is solid.
It's a great house. It's a great house.
It is a good house. It's a great house. Anyway, yeah, I got stories for you though.
I bet you
Anyway.
do. I bet you do.
All right, where was I at?
Affiliation last.
In your opinion, what is the single most significant issue facing our township?
Large corporation development, data centers, solar farms, wind turbines, rock quarries. We moved to this community 10 years ago for a reason. We grew up down in the Detroit metro area. And we wanted to raise our kids in a different environment. And I think it's important for us to work hard to maintain that in our community. And I think that those corporations, while could be helpful to some degree, are a risk factor for us as a community. And I think we need to be cautious and proactive about that.
What support will you need to be an effective trustee?
So I think similar to the question about getting up to speed, it's figuring, learning about the onboarding, the mentoring program, what information is available to you that I wouldn't get through, the online watching the old meetings and things to that effect. So, I'm going to be transparent to say, I don't know what I don't know. So I think just asking some very open-ended questions of you all is something that I would need to be able to do, to do that fact-finding.
And then the last question here, do you have any experience with township, county, or any other planning and zoning type?
No, not that type of experience. I really come forward because I feel like my leadership experience could be very helpful. I'm willing to learn anything that you throw at me that could be helpful with this board in this township.
All righty, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Last but not least, Mr. Tucker. All right. Oh, here's sorry, gotta give this to you. This is just a list of the written list of the questions. For the first question here is, tell us a bit about yourself and what motivated you to apply for this position.
As many of you know, I am an attorney. I work at a law firm in Grand Blanc, Michigan. I also am a Tyrone Township resident. I've lived here since 2017. I've been quite involved with Tyrone Township since 2020. 2020 and beyond, I have either been at or watched all of the board meetings that have occurred. I participated as a board member from November of 2020 until November of 2024. So I actually sat in one of those chairs and helped guide the board during that period of time. Since then, I've tried to remain as involved as I possibly can. I was honored to receive an appointment to the Planning Commission, and I have been at every Planning Commission meeting that has happened since then. And I'm here because I'd like to be more involved, and this board position represents an opportunity to do that. It's not an opportunity I would pass up.
What do you believe are the most important responsibilities of a township trustee?
I think that a trustee has to listen. Trustee has to listen to the residents. Trustee has to listen to other board members. A trustee has to be willing and able to learn, to research, to become as fully informed as possible when it comes to any decision that the board has to be making. And the trustee then is obligated to offer that guidance to the board in the form of a discussion. And as a collaborative group, then the hope would be that the trustees and the board members together can arrive at the correct decision for the interest of the township.
What experience in your work life, volunteer service, or community involvement has prepared you for this role?
I think my career as an attorney is a significant asset in the sense that I see lots of disputes, lots of disagreements on any given day. Part of my job is to advocate for the interest of my clients, be advocating to support the interests of the township as a board member. Another part of my job is to try and solve problems, and that's one of the parts of the job that I really enjoy. And I would look forward to using that experience solving problems to help the township solve problems, avoid litigation, get good results in general. I think my experience on the board, my knowledge of the matters that the township has handled previously, is handling today, coupled with my knowledge from sitting as a commissioner on the Planning Commission, would be helpful in that role as well.
How do you approach decision-making when residents are divided on an issue?
It's tough, but the key is to be as informed as you possibly can about every given issue. Come in prepared, be aware of what the issues are, be aware of what the various opinions are, and know that in most circumstances you're probably not going to be able to make everyone happy. So, with that being the case, all a trustee can really do is make the best decision possible under the circumstances, and you only do that if you're informed.
How do you handle situations where you disagree with other board members?
Comes up very often in my career. As an advocate, there's always somebody advocating on the other side. I'm very used to having somebody who disagrees with me. My approach is to stay calm, be professional. The whole point of effective advocacy is to make the decision maker, in this case the board, fully aware of all the information that's important and relevant to that decision. And you don't do that if you're yelling and screaming and arguing and raising voices. You do that with calm, cool, collected discussion. That's my approach.
What is your understanding of transparency laws, such as the Open Meetings Act and the Freedom of Information Act?
Familiar with both those laws, obviously worked under them as a board member, work under them as a planning commissioner, and well aware of the fact that communications, when you're wearing any of those hats in any of those roles, subject to disclosure to the public as it should be. Well aware of the limitations imposed on meetings as well. Business is to be conducted at a board meeting like this. That's why we're here tonight. And it's important that a board not conduct business outside of the context of that meeting. So I'm certainly familiar with it, well aware of it.
How would you ensure you are accessible and responsive to residents?
So when I was a board member previously, I shared my cell phone freely with anybody who asked for it, my cell phone number. It was actually posted on the township website. Would, of course, do that again if I were selected to fill the position on the board. Doesn't get any more direct in terms of access to me. My clients don't even get my cell phone a lot of times, so a pretty direct line of communication, and I try to stay as involved as I can. I'm at the meetings. I'm there to listen and discuss, and the events the township has had, I enjoy going to those, and I'm there as well, so it's pretty easy to find me.
Do you have any potential conflicts of interest or affiliations the board should be aware of?
No, nothing at all.
If appointed, how would you get up to speed on current township issues and ongoing projects?
I would say as a general statement, I am up to speed on the affairs of the township, both in the sense that I've been watching the meetings and I'm an active participant on the ZBA, which I neglected to mention earlier, and the Planning Commission, and I've been at the board meeting, so I would not expect that there would be a lot that I would need to get up to speed on, if anything at all, other than potentially some matters that occurred in closed session, which are obviously not open to the public.
Can you describe a time you had to remain calm and professional in a challenging situation?
Just about every time I'm in court, I have to do that. So practice that skill at least once a week. And again, it's part of being an effective advocate. You don't convey your position, you don't convey the information well if you don't. So I guess the answer to the question is I do it all the time, and most often when I'm in court. Sometimes it's actually outside of court as well. So.
What party are you affiliated with?
Republican.
Does your current job require regular out-of-town travel?
No, in fact, it causes me to not be able to travel often.
Do you have any affiliation with current or previous administration or board members of Tyrone Township?
In the sense of a business or financial interest, I don't have any affiliation whatsoever. As I mentioned earlier, I did serve on the board previously from 2020 to 2024. So if that's what you mean, I have that prior affiliation, yeah. And then the current affiliation with the Zoning Board of Appeals and the Planning Commission.
In your opinion, what is the single most significant issue facing our township?
So we are a small, beautiful, rural community, lots and lots of natural beauty, and there are a lot of outside factors that would like to develop areas like the place we are lucky enough to live in for more intensive uses. And, I think that is one of the biggest concerns that I have as a resident of the township. One of the things that I would look to try and protect and foster as a board member is the natural beauty of the township. And it's a very active and rapidly changing environment when it comes to that type of development, data centers, solar energy, wind, you name it. We've dealt with a lot of it at the Planning Commission level, dealt with a lot of it at the board level. It's going to continue to change. It's going to continue to be an issue, and I think it's the biggest one.
What support will you need to be an effective trustee?
I don't anticipate needing any support for that.
Do you have any experience with township, county? That's kind of a given.
Sitting on the Planning Commission and being involved with the board, yeah, I do. I have extensive experience with the township's affairs and the way the Planning Commission functions, the way that the board functions. So.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, was gonna hand out these banking cards, but we decided not to do the point system. Is that true? Right, we're still with that? Okay.
Yes, yeah.
All right, then I will, based on the interviews, entertain a motion for one of the applicants.
I'll make a motion to appoint Zach Tucker as a trustee.
Support.
There's a motion to appoint
Can I ask
Zach
a
Tucker.
question? Can I ask a question, Greg?
Sure.
How is that going to affect our ZBA and our planning commission? Because he's on ZBA now, and he also is ex officio on the planning commission, is that correct?
Yeah, we'll have to find replacements. Yeah. I mean, it's,
Well, he's not the ex officio, he's on the planning commission, he's not the ex officio.
no,
he's
he's
on
the
the
ex
ZBA.
officio of the ZBA.
Yeah, he's not on the planning commission.
He's
an
not.
So he's already currently filling 2 positions in the township, which we need drastically.
So there's a motion on the table here to appoint Zach Tucker as a trustee, and it's been seconded. We'll have a roll call vote.
Greg Carnes,
Yes.
Jennifer Eden,
Yes?
Herman Ferguson,
Yes.
Dean Haas,
No,
Pam Moffler, yes. Chris Repetta,
No.
All right, Zach? All right, Zach.
Congratulations, Zach.
Thank you, Zach. Yep, we'll see you at the January 20th meeting. All right.
She yelled out at
Hey.
first. That is so unfair.
Let's move on.
All right. New business item number 2, allocation of PEG funds to the schools.
You want me to speak?
Yeah, you want to, do we have some? Okay. Yeah, so, quiet.
Okay, every year around this time, we have the same discussion. Fenton Area Cable Television Consortium, we get money, PEG funding from the cable companies. And this PEG funding goes into a special fund that it can only be used for educational purposes. I am a member of the FACT group that gets together all the municipalities, Fenton schools, Lake Fenton, Linden, Heartland, Southern Lakes, City of Fenton, Fenton Township, and the City of Linden. We meet at least quarterly, and in this packet is the applications. So the schools have to submit applications of what they need. With the help of our PEG coordinator, he goes through their inventory list, makes sure that they are in need of these items. They're all enclosed. Tyrone Township, our portion of these, of the $128,725 that was requested, Tyrone Township's appropriation of that is $34,224.91. And that is calculated by the amount of our actual receipts that each of us get, the Fenton Township, City of Fenton, our township, and the City of Linden. And up at the top there of the allocation sheet, you can see what we've got and the percentage of all of those. Does anybody have any questions? Also, I'd like to tell you that we do have an ongoing inventory list. Every school has to have an inventory list. If there is something that is no longer needed, let's say in Heartland School, if one of the other schools need them, then we transfer them to that school instead of buying new equipment. That happened a couple times with cameras that one school wasn't using. Heartland Schools, I believe it was, had, or was it Linden? I think it was one of the schools, had some computers that were outdated and no longer could be used. So we transferred them to Southern Lakes Parks, and they are letting seniors use them at the facility at Southern Lakes. So the decision tonight has to be on the allocation part. But what is your question?
I have a couple questions. First of all, I know this happens every year, and last year you kindly explained what the program was that you're leading the program for this
Yeah,
area.
I am a chairman.
Right,
of
as
the-
chairperson.
Yes.
And the question I have is that looking through the inventory, most of the inventory is for requests for new equipment.
Yes.
So how do we know that the school, I mean, you're talking about, I even was looking at Heartland Township, or Heartland Schools, or whatever. They have 2 Canon camera lenses over $2,000 each. How do we know that equipment has been, what's in their current inventory? This isn't their complete inventory.
No.
This is just a
just
request for new
yes.
stuff.
So we
So
have
how do we know?
complete
I mean,
inventories.
it almost, and I'm not saying this to offend anybody, but it almost sounds like, here's an allocation of money, figure out what you can do to spend it, rather than we have 15 Canon cameras and 27 lenses already up to now in the history of the program. But I now need 2 more and all this other stuff.
Well, the request of new ones, we do have a complete inventory list for all the schools. So the request of new ones or additional ones is either replacing ones that were broken, or replacing ones that are outdated, can't use, or because their class size is enlarged. So each school, their class sizes are growing larger and larger. And I would invite any of you to come to one of our meetings, and we go down to their audio, their computer rooms, their labs, and watch the children, the students use this. Some of them have went on to be, I can't think of the girl's name. One of the school, a couple years ago, she went on, and now she's Channel 12 News broadcaster, whatever. So they do great things. I mean, they each do their own little clips in the morning. They do news briefs. They go out and candidly go to like different businesses and interview them. I mean, it's great what they've been able to accomplish. We do have the inventory list. Our PEG coordinator that we also hire, that is his job to make sure they need everything they've asked. And you see the corrected list. Some of the things they've asked for, the fact group says, nope, you don't need this. You don't need fruit in a bowl for a display. We're not purchasing that. So the lists you see are the ones that the fact group has approved.
And is there a fact
After
group
we're
at
back.
each school system then that's requesting, or?
Yes,
Or
so,
is that an overall fact group that?
no, the fact group consists of Fenton, Lake Fenton, Linden, Heartland, and Southern Lakes and Park. So it's
Okay.
one person from the communities. Your superintendents are there from the schools, or their video people are usually in class, so they can't attend. Or they may have somebody over that, like another board member that they have. So there's usually 15 of us in that meeting. So it isn't just one from each one.
Okay.
And they each have to play a role in it, and it's very intense. When I first was appointed to this board and asked to represent us on this board, and I was only a board member, I didn't think much of it. You know, I didn't think it was as broad as it is. And I was shocked to figure out the time and the energy and the effort that go into these requests. We make sure they're legit. We have bylaws. We ask if anybody is getting rid of equipment. If they have old equipment, they have to have it approved by our board that is going to be destroyed or given to another school that can use it. So it's pretty intense. I mean, it isn't, and it is all for educational purposes.
Yeah, and I don't discount the value to the students and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm just trying on behalf of the residents to understand. We're spending $38,000 and this year, and Oh, I said.
34.
I thought it said 37 at the top, so the allocation cost, but 37,799.
That at the top is what we brought in this past year.
Oh, that's the funding
Yes,
for
yes.
the, what we're
Yep.
going to spend. Okay, thank you.
That's
Thanks for the
receipts, yep.
clarification. And that there's some controls in place that help ensure that they're asking for this because of a need or requirement,
Right.
rather than just saying,
Gimme,
hey,
gimme.
we've got this fund for $34,000 available.
What needs stuff can we buy?
What kind of cool
What can we
things
buy?
can we buy with that this year?
Mhm.
And that's what I was just noticing in their lists is,
We do, just so you know, we have a fund balance. This is a restricted fund, okay? So this is a fund that can't be paid anything else, you know.
yep,
It has a balance as of yesterday, 451,650. So that is monies from the cable that they charge everybody on your cable bill, and then that's law, that they have to, the municipality in which the people live in have to get a certain percentage of that. So that's where last year we brought in 37,799.
okay.
So that's where those monies come from, and they can only be allocated for educational purposes.
Okay, and the last question I had, and thank you for that, is that would the coordinator object if I were to reach out to them and talk with them just about how the program works from the
Pay-
school
pay
system side?
coordinator?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, okay,
Absolutely not. We would love to.
okay, thank you.
Yep. Any
Okay.
more questions?
Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay. I would, excuse me, make a recommendation for a motion.
Make a motion to approve. Yeah, approve it.
I'll second.
Motion to
She seconded.
approve
Yep.
and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carries. All right, new business number 3, treasurer's request to attend the Michigan Municipal Treasurers Association and the Association of Public Treasurers of the United States and Canada 2026 workshops. I'd just like to remind the board that this funding has already been approved, and it's within the treasurer's training budget, and that both of these are recertification, is that correct?
For my recertification.
For your recertification. They go towards your recert.
Yes.
Okay.
So the MMTA one is, I received an MICPT, which
Okay.
is Michigan Certified Professional Treasurer, and your Association of Public Treasurers of U.S. and Canada, I received my CPFIM, which is Certified Public Funds Investment Manager. I just want to add a little bit of this. I know everybody's having a hard time with training, and I don't understand that. Every position I've ever had, there's ongoing training no matter what employment you have. Ongoing all the time, and if you're not educating yourself, then you're probably not up to par. So I'll share a little so the interest that we earn on all of our accounts. I had Casey pull a spreadsheet for me. And so I started in 2017, and we did probably 50 to 70,000, whatever. I started taking these classes, I got my certification. In 2022, the interest we earned on all accounts, now these are common accounts, these are the restricted fund accounts, like 274, like the PEG coordinator one. All of them combined was $17,250. In 2023, I reinvested, changed some things around, moved things around. It went to $112,814 in interest earned. So this is money that is in our funds that the taxpayers did not have to pay, that can fund. It's not your money, it's the township's money. Thank you.
They are the township.
They are the township.
Okay. So in 2024, that number went up to 341,300. Now, this is across all of our accounts, 20-some accounts, that, okay? And then this year, projected by the end of our fiscal year, which is March 31st, is 436,578. So those of you who think that training is not important, I beg to differ. And my training budget is 5,000, and I never even come close to it. So,
Is there any
just a
reason we
little
can't do
food
it
for thought.
online?
Following the training.
There's an
Okay.
online option. Why are we not doing that and saving the cost of the travel?
well, first of all, this workshop that's next week, I am
She's
teaching a 2-hour class on Thursday afternoon. from
That
3 to 5.
really isn't relevant to
So-
the township.
Well, I can't teach a class.
It's
and
not relevant. That's the
It's
township.
been approved, and I guess I'll entertain a motion.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question, and by the way, I support certification. I have no problem with certification. The thing that I haven't heard you say is the recognition that I've been asking for discussions. I asked Casey about the $7.5 million from our budget that is unallocated funds that we're earning interest on. We've got almost $2 million in the public safety at the end of the last year from the budget that's earning interest. We got lots of stuff earning interest, and we've never had a discussion driven by the treasurer or anybody else on this board of how to start talking about returning some of this interest on the taxpayers' money back to the taxpayers. So I'm all for certification, and I'm all for the things that we're doing to earn that money.
Can we stick to the,
This is what she brought up, Greg. Greg, she has talked.
She brought up all the interest.
She brought
that
up
she's
all
making.
these interest earned, and I appreciate that. I think that's a great value to the township,
Okay.
and I'm simply adding to that, thank you, that the people, we should have discussions
and
about.
we will.
When?
When we start discussing the budget. We
Well,
have to have a budget
That's way
discussion.
too late. That's
But-
way too
I
late.
mean, and again, I understand you're teaching a class, but what value is that to the township? When you could have did it online and saved us some money. You still get your certification, you still attend the class, you still gain all of the advantages of going, which I agree with Chris, training is important, but there is I believe when there's an online option is what we should be using versus spending money to go there. And again, you're teaching a class, that's great, but there's zero benefit to this township if you're doing that.
I have a different perspective on that, Trustee Haas. Online learning is much different than in-person learning. I just completed 10 hours for the state for election training, and it's all online. It's a lot different than being in person when I was training in person. Sometimes you gain more from being there in person, and you get to ask the questions and discuss with other people. So I think that networking aspect and learning other people's situations and the challenges and how they solve them brings a lot of value to that too. And so for any one of us to attend any training, I 100% support that. We want us to be educated and as informed as possible. And so for myself, I see a lot of value in that. And I'd like to make a motion to approve the treasurer's request to attend the Michigan Municipal Treasurers Association and the Association of Public Treasurers of the United States and Canada 2026 workshops.
Support.
All right, there's a motion.
Well, is there any other discussion first? I mean, we don't have to rush to the vote. I mean, is there any other?
What else would you like to discuss?
Well, I'd like to maybe hear Herman's opinion, for example.
Well, on training, I agree with Pam. When you're there in person, it's a lot different than online. I've taken both things, and the connections you make, it's very valuable. So I think the in-person is far better than online.
I agree. The networking, face-to-face, I'm I think I've made it pretty obvious, I'm a grip and grin person. I like that face-to-face. So it's just me. Much better training in person than online.
Thank you.
So, any other?
No,
any
I'm good.
Other questions?
I'm good now.
Okay, any other, then there's a motion on the,
I made a
and
motion.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, item 4, the NDA discussion. Trustee Haas is submitted a representation of a possible non-disclosure agreement ordinance.
And I guess the reason I believe we should need this is, it's come up recently, both in other townships and here, actually cities. And as a matter of fact, in one aspect, I understand there was a local here where somebody had FOIA'd whether anybody had NDAs in this township, and the response was sent back no, which is untrue. I do have an NDA with the company I work for, and it could create a issue with this board at some point, because I work for Consumers Energy. And who's the number one person doing, one of the top people in the state doing solar right now? It is our utility companies. So I think, and it's not that I believe mine is a conflict, but I believe it's something the township should know about, and I believe we should have an ordinance that makes that a little bit more transparent to them. And that's why I brought this up, because my understanding is we're in violation of a FOIA request right now.
Big time.
How would we have
Because I was never even asked about it.
How is a non-disclosure, how is that a township?
The FOIA
I'm an employee of the township.
Yeah, but I think that the
You're an
FOIA
elected
was
official.
if,
The FOIA
Well, I
request
know
was,
anybody in the
does
township.
the township
In the
know?
township, employed by the
No,
township,
does
had an
the-
No, it
NDA.
wasn't, Pam.
Hey,
Anybody, I read it. I read it. It was sent to me as a response. I saw it. I never saw an initial request for information to me. But I saw it as a response, and what I read was that any employee of the township, if anybody had an NDA,
Huge.
I was never even asked.
I don't know what it is. I'm going to guess whoever did the search was looking for NDAs with the township and its employees, as opposed to somebody who works in the township with a third party.
But I should include it all because it did not,
you're not an employee.
I am an employee, unfortunately.
No.
I am classified.
No, you are-
Look in your
Is it
manual,
him?
and it claims we are employees. We are paid and taxed within this
Okay.
township.
Yeah, he's on the payroll.
So, again, that's why I brought this up, and that's why I think it's important we put something in place so that this doesn't happen again. So that anybody coming on board that does have one, they can disclose it properly. Again, 99.9% of the time, it's going to be irrelevant.
It's already in place, it's called FOIA law.
Well, no, I'm saying is the NDA itself would probably be irrelevant, not whether we disclose it or not. I agree, disclosing it is 100% relevant. So, that's why I believe we need an ordinance, and I believe we need to have this discussion, okay?
Okay, so I have a question, Mr. Haas. If this was so significant, why did you not come to the township and tell us that you had NDA
Yeah.
upon being elected and taking your oath in office?
Because nobody ever asked me. Nobody had never even brought to my attention and never thought about it until I saw the response to a FOIA request for NDAs.
Okay,
Simple as that.
fair enough.
Yeah. Again, I don't believe it has an impact on the board. I believe, but based on that request, it should have been disclosed. I believe.
If I can comment on this here. Did you turn that NDA over to the township?
No, I have not.
So it's not a township record.
I should have been asked whether I did have one. As a board member, I should have been asked.
That's not up for me to decide. But I'm wanting to know if it was a township record.
That's where you're gonna go? That's the path you wanna take?
Hey,
I'm not here to decide that.
Wow. Really looking out for the township.
okay, so I guess, where would you like to go from here?
Well, I think probably we need to, again, I don't think we need to make this tonight, but I think we need to probably talk with somebody of knowledge about NDAs and put together an ordinance. This is just one that's,
Do you know when?
done by somebody else.
Do you know when Cohocton put this in place?
I do not.
Just recently, I think, and I think the key triggers for NDA discussions today are surrounding just about every major thing that we have going on, from solar overlay maps, land, non-disclosures between anybody who might sit on one of our commissions or our appointed people or employees, about from power companies, from the battery, from other special interest groups that might be trying to, and now we have, of course, data centers discussions coming up as well. And though all of those kinds of groups may want to sign disclosure agreements with key people in the township, and you may not feel you're key because you're an employee or an appointee or an elected official, but it's important, if, as I'm reading down through this, maybe to have that discussion about prohibiting with those organizations that, disclosing, of course, as Dean, you've indicated, but maybe prohibiting further, or anybody engaging in a non-disclosure agreement if they don't have one today, that might be an employee or an appointee or an elected official in that sense. That's what I think this Cohocton example is pointing out. And I think it's a pretty good example that we could discuss, further.
And maybe even just having Chuck look at this one and go, hey, maybe it fits the bill. I don't know. I apologize. I really got so many comments. I apologize. I should have. You want mine? I actually up here. I will. I'll bring this, let you have this. And then you can see at least what Cohocton is doing and why they're doing it and their thoughts. Appreciate it. Again, I'm not expecting a vote, I'm not expecting a motion, I'm just a discussion, and we need to look into this.
I think we should put it on unfinished business. It should be one of our...
Do you want it just added as an agenda item for next week, and that'll give us a week, or the next meeting rather, and that'll give us time to, it's an actual, I'd rather have it as an actual item than...
I think we need to look at it
and that'll give Chuck a chance to look at it and come up with an opinion too at that point.
And then we can also get this example out to the public as well in the official packet.
And we may be able to contact other communities that may be doing the same thing. I guess it doesn't really matter if it's an unfinished business or new business for next week, or the next meeting rather.
Either or.
Either or is fine.
It's going to be up for
I'm fine with either
discussion.
or, yes.
Just a future meeting. Our next meeting is a joint meeting with Planning Commission.
Well, we'll make sure it's on the agenda, whether it's in new business or unfinished business.
Good enough, appreciate that.
Wait, what?
I think we're going to make sure this, there's no reason not to put this on here for at least for further discussion.
Okay, remember, we have a joint meeting, that's what I just told you.
Well, yeah.
What's a joint meeting? It's the first I've heard about a joint meeting.
Joint meeting with the Planning Commission.
But that hasn't been discussed with the board.
We made it.
The Planning Commission is required to have one joint meeting with the board annually.
I agree, and I understand that, but I'm not saying that. My question is why hasn't this been discussed with the board? Why is this the first time I'm hearing about it in whispers from you guys about the next meeting? I don't know what the meeting is, I've not been informed, I've seen no documentation, I've gotten no communication.
No,
I knew
because
nothing
it's
about it.
presumed that you would be at the board meeting.
When is it?
When is it?
The 20th?
The 20th of January.
Well, nobody's communicated anything. I checked my email today. This is not the way this should happen.
I will not be here the 20th. That was not one of our planned meetings that were scheduled for, so I made other plans. I'll be out of country.
It is our regular meeting. Our regular meeting.
It is our regular meeting,
It's our regular next meeting.
and that's when the planning commission is available to meet.
Yes. 20th. It's our regular board meeting.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I
First.
won't be here.
First and third, okay.
So if
Well-
you're not going to be at the next meeting, and Dean is the one that's bringing this and has this information, and perhaps he'll have more, why would we have this conversation without Dean?
It's important enough, I'll pick it up.
Thanks, Chris.
Yep.
Appreciate that. I'll get you anything else I've got.
All right, thank you.
Plus, if we-
That's a good show of collaboration.
If we don't, and plus, if we don't have enough to really discuss in detail, at least it's on the unfinished business and it's in front.
But this is a hot issue with everything brewing around us.
Yeah.
This is going to come our way very quickly, and this to get in front of the NDAs is really, really critical, which I would be absolutely convinced that we need to speak about this at the very next meeting, even if it's a joint meeting with the Planning Commission.
Well,
It's relevant to them
To
as
them
well,
too.
and
Yeah,
any
it's-
other employees or other
it's
appointed
relevant to
people.
everyone in the township.
Absolutely,
Exactly.
absolutely.
If you're on the
agree.
payroll, then this is relevant.
I agree 100%,
Yeah.
so.
Okay. So we'll put it on unfinished business. and
Oh, that's fine.
We have enough- we
You know,
have-
I don't have a problem with
Yeah.
that. I'm just a little confused, like, this is what's going to be on the agenda, or is someone compiling more information on NDAs?
We're going to compile some more. Dean's going to send out that as an example.
Okay.
Don't be confused about the example. This is just Cohocton has their name on it. They shared this in the open public, and this is one example of an NDA effort that one of our neighboring townships has passed. And so we will talk to other neighboring townships as well. Hopefully I can do that before the next meeting. But if not, at least one example is available for our public to be included in the packet and see. And to be able to
And
start seeing
Chuck's
what we're
gonna
looking
look
at.
at it,
That's
too.
right, and Chuck will
Chuck's gonna
look
look
at
at
it. As one example.
Right, right. So we have multiple avenues that
Okay,
are going
thank
to
you.
add to it. All right. Are we all good?
Good. Appreciate it.
All right. All right, I'll close new business. We'll move into the public remarks.
Jody Kelly. When we discussed Jennifer's training and being recertified, my issue isn't that somebody goes to a workshop. It's what you learn there and how you apply it at your job. And common sense tells me that when you're the treasurer of a township and you've got multiple people asking you, 2 other board members, community members for over a year, asking you to provide accurate numbers on the cost of the legal case for Chris, and then basically being lied to by Pam, she's gonna get it all straightened out, and never heard another word about it. I've spoken about it twice. So then, fast forward to the recall. You're on the team. You're the treasurer of this township. Your numbers should be accurate, and you should be transparent with the community when they ask you. I'm sure they train them. You would learn this in your training. If not, common sense would tell you that. So you tell me how you let people that, the community members, speak constantly about how Chris costs this township over $50,000, knowing it was $30,000 or $30,000, whatever. And you're the treasurer. You should have come to the next meeting and made it clear to the whole community. But that was you, and you're in on it. You're on the team. And you know that's what they're telling people. A complete lie. And by the way, it's a hot topic right now. There's loads of information. Legislators are working on this problem of circulators giving misinformation and fraudulent information. And because there's no consequence for that, but there's going to be, and the AG nestles behind it 100%. And they're working on it now. It's going to be a felony and a fine. So, you know, I know you teach classes and you're going to be recertified, but somebody needs to tell me how that's okay for you to do that. And actually, you all did it, not just Jennifer, whoever, Herm, you were on the team. I know you all signed, but Herb you were on the team. Did you ever find out how much the actual number was? And it's all recorded. We have people that have went to ask questions, and it's all recorded over and over again that he lost $50,000 for this township, when that isn't, but you put $30,000 on your petition. That's the transparency we get from the treasurer.
Hi, Gordon Tomaszewski. I'm going to kind of piggyback off the prior speaker. I had an interesting conversation today with the Livingston County Election Commission, and they mentioned, and I'm sure you guys are all aware, that the petition has failed, that the didn't meet the criteria to move forward. As the prior speaker mentioned, everybody here is aware of the people that had a hand in the recall effort. My question is, how are you guys trying to build trust in the township? How are you trying to build camaraderie? How are you trying to turn around and accomplish things as a township when you guys are undermining the township? Herm, you donated money to the cause. You stood up the corner, collected signatures. Pam was up there. Not Pam, I'm sorry, Jennifer was up there. People had signs in their front yard opposing it. So how do you build camaraderie? Planning Commission members, John Ward, he contributed to it. He's on Facebook. Kevin Ross, the guy who this really all started around. And yet nothing's been done to address the core issue. All we've done is cover it all up. So until you guys get to the root cause, you're still going to have problems. Yeah, you can put everybody back in place, but we're still going to have consistent issues because there's no policies. You talk about code of conduct. Well, how about we turn around like other townships, like I've mentioned all along, there's other townships have codes of conduct and attendance requirements for their members. They also don't allow them to go, the members of the boards, to go out and act as a representative for the township and spread information and talk about how they're going to target people. There's something blatantly wrong with that if you agree with it. My question also is, are you guys going to learn to put your petty grievances aside in the politics and the retribution? Or are we going to continue on the path we're on, which is going nowhere? Board's made up of 7 people. We should all sit down. Reasonable adults should be able to turn around and discuss issues and throw all the garbage out. Something also, the issue with FOIAs and people and the OMA, I heard all the trustees ask about it.
what nobody seems to realize, these things are put in place, just like our Constitution, for us to hold the government, which is you guys, in check, not for you to dictate and hold us in check. And I have a problem when the system's being abused. We're playing word games when people file FOIA requests. And if we can't get honest information, it just turns into legal, trying to play legalese. We really have a problem here.
Appreciate that, Gordy, pointing out abusing the system. I'm going to read this to you morons one more time. The township board shall not transact business at a special meeting unless the business was stated in the notice of the meeting. Did you transact business that was not stated in the notice of the meeting? I don't need to ask him if I did. I know if I broke the law. I'm disappointed in every single one of you. Let's ask Chuck. And his answer is, I don't think anything's going to happen. That wasn't the freaking question. Did you break the law? You wonder why I get worked up? Yeah, I expect you to obey the dang law. Did you hold a meeting without public comment? Yes, you did. Guess what? I got another one for y'all. And I brought the law, unlike this guy. And I've already brought this up to you, Greg. Here's your resolution. And I printed it off, but I'm not even going to bother to give you one because you're waiting. Here's when your meeting dates got voted in, right? Board meeting dates, planning commission meeting dates. Here's all the ones you canceled, Greg. I question, can you legally do that? Can you overrule a resolution voted in by the board? No, you can't. Here's the law. MCL 15.265. If there is a change in the schedule of regular meetings of a public body, which is you and the planning commission, correct? Yes. I don't need to ask Chuck. I know those definitions. There shall be posted within 3 days after the meeting at which the change was made. You have to do that at an open meeting, Greg. You did it 5 times, I believe. You canceled meetings. I know why you did it, because you don't want public comment. You're scared to death of it. You're scared to death of a guy like me reading you the law. But no, let's ask this guy. Let's all ask him. He's worthless. I'm reading you the law. I don't need to ask him if I violated it. Speed limit's 55. I can read that. I don't have to be a lawyer. And you all just move on about your meeting and blow it off like it. You know why I read this to you? Because I think there's other people watching these meetings right now. I don't expect to get through to you boneheads. You don't listen to anybody. You don't. But a question, you voted in to use the point system, right? Did you vote that in? Why didn't you use it tonight? You voted it in. Why don't you use what you voted in? Because you're sitting there wondering if I'm right. You're not sure about yourselves. I am. He's not either. Look at him, a little smirk on his face. You asked him, have you read that law, Chuck? Not today. Have you ever read it? Because I seen you over there Googling it. Nice attorney. Good job. It's disgusting watching you people waste my tax dollars. I gave you 2 seconds for free.
Can I have it?
Disgusting. God bless everyone.
Jeanette Rapetta. I have something written up here, but how you voted tonight, disgusting. And it will be played over and over again. Ham jumps out and nominates right away and nobody else gets a chance. That was disgusting and probably illegal. We'll see. 2, planning chair sitting behind me, John Ward, yeah, laughing away, but guess what he just told me? I didn't know this is a double meeting next week. You know, he has no idea, he's the chairman of the planning commission. Number 3, FOIA. He lied to me. He lied about FOIA. You guys are gonna get sued.
Oh,
Yeah, again.
get a life.
Excuse me?
Get a life.
You get a life. Are you gonna call him out for calling me? You're not going to. You're not gonna give it to him for harassing me. Way to go, Greg. The July 16th, here's what Supervisor Carnes promised residents on July 18th, 2024, posted this on Facebook. He said, of the July 16th meeting in 2024, the Tyrone Township Board meeting and the subsequent behavior from our township leadership is another example of why I've known since last August to run. In fact, this behavior, lack of decorum and corruption, he says, is the entire reason I decided to run for Tyrone Township Supervisor. He goes on to say that he put this information on a mailer. It's apparent the Planning Commission and more broadly the township government are dysfunctional. At the Planning Commission meeting, it was apparent that the voices of the township residents have not been heard. He goes on to say, if the Planning Commission had been engaged with the residents throughout the process, then the commissioners would not have been caught off guard and the whole process would be more transparent and efficient, something that they didn't know about, that the residents knew about. The Planning Commission, he says, is representative of the systemic issues that originate in the office of our supervisor, is what he says. Residents are being overlooked and ignored. The Tyrone Township Supervisor is elected by the residents to serve those residents, not to dictate what happens in the township from behind closed doors. When I am supervisor, we will have open discussions and information sessions that will enable residents to work with the township board and commissions to enhance the efficiency and transparency of your Tyrone Township government. And then he posts more of what he said on the previous May 17th. I've been a member of the ZBA for the last 28 years, and even I didn't know the disregard of our citizens by the administration until just a few years ago. I mean, seriously, the current administration, he says, has shown, exemplified by the behavior of the July 16th board meeting, that they are incapable of advocating for our township's constituents' best interests. So why, after reading your promises, why is it that we residents are experiencing lack of transparency, threats to our right to speak freely without intimidation at public comment, etc.? Was it the day that you assigned Kevin Ross back on the Planning Commission? Was that the day? Was that it?
Hi, Mike Amberg, 11400 Foley Road. Jennifer, you brought up some interesting things that the PEG funding has gone for. What I was wondering is if it's possible for the schools to actually give us a kind of a summary, year-end summary of where that money actually got spent. Because I know the wishes at the beginning sometimes don't meet the requirements at the end because unexpected things may break, that type of thing, in the process of the school year. But it would be helpful to know the good that's come out of the money that's been collected from our cable funds. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Greg, I'm going to make a public comment. I'm speaking as a resident. And as a resident, the attempt to recall me has failed. I was notified by the county elections manager that the efforts failed to recall me. They didn't get enough signatures. So, and I know all of you guys participated in that, but the core of the issue started way back when with the attendance at the Planning Commission. And I know that some of you, Herman, even yourself, have stated that the state only requires 2 Planning Commission meetings a year. Technically, the state requires 4. However, the board has overridden that, and each one of us last March 4th voted on the meeting schedule, which means the board expects 24 meetings from the Planning Commission, 24 meetings from the board. This is the expectation from us, you as the board. I'm as a resident right now. Sorry, I'm speaking as a resident. This is the expectation from you as a board. Now, even in the planning commission, if you took away the workshops, which could be considered optional, that leaves 12 meetings. That's 3 times the state limit. And 3 times the state limit says this board has an expectation that 12 meetings will be held and 12 meetings will be attended. If you don't think that you're going to try to attend every meeting, that's the goal. We don't just say, I don't feel like going today, so I'm not showing up. We made a commitment to the people. That's the expectation that me as a resident expects from every board. You don't need an attendance policy, but it certainly would help in this situation with all of you guys trying to remove what seems to be the most conservative voice who wants to hold people accountable from this township. That's incredible. But you got to go to the resolutions that we pass as a community, that you pass on behalf of the residents, to show the expectations of commitment to this township as an appointed, elected official, just like you 3 are holding accountable your employees that are actually employed by this township for showing up every day that they're supposed to go to work. Now, that's what's called a reasonable understanding of these resolutions when we pass these board meetings. It just blows my mind that even board members, and I'm sorry not to pick on you, but everybody here follows the same process of attendance doesn't matter. Well, if attendance doesn't matter, then why are we all here? It mattered enough for the board to pass an actual schedule. We had a citizen here talk about how you can't change those meeting schedules without a board approval. We need a legal opinion about that. This is important stuff from the residents. Every resident, including myself as a resident, should be appalled at the idea that you all don't have a clue as to what that means. And guess what? When I was sitting as a resident, it's important. Just know that. Start thinking differently about how you read your own resolutions that you pass. I'm now resuming my trustee position.
Yes, John.
John Ward. A previous resident was correct. I wasn't aware that the joint meeting, I have been asking for one, so I'm glad to hear that we're going to have one coming up. That's really good. Whenever it is, I can attend. And I believe the bylaws, we can call a special meeting within 48 hours. So, but as far as that joint meeting, that's a good opportunity for the planning commission and the board to all get on the same page. But to continue that, I'm really pushing again to have ex officio. I think the board did a good job of appointing Zach Tucker, but now that he's not going to be on the planning commission, we're going to need to fill that role, but also the ex officio. So I would recommend Zach for that. I think he's done a really good job. And the other candidates that applied, I commend them for wanting to serve the township, and hope they realize that, that will be one more vacancy on the planning commission. So I encourage them to apply to any vacant boards. That's how I got started, walk into the supervisor's office and see how I can help, and got on the ZBA as alternate, then ZBA, and then planning commission, and I think it's very worthwhile. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we haven't even communicated this joint meeting to the planning commission? I mean, not just the board. That's a whole different meeting schedule for them to come. Are they going to still then hold their normal planning commission meetings, or would this be a replacement of that?
No, this is our normal board meeting that we are making a joint meeting.
But I'm saying about the planning commission, to John's point, is that if he hasn't been informed, that he now has to ask the planning commissioners to come to a different meeting on a different day,
Yeah.
then that's going to replace a different meeting. Which meeting will it replace for the planning commissioners? Or are they going to continue to hold their regular scheduled meetings and then also add this meeting to that?
Correct.
Adding a meeting to this schedule takes a board vote. So we have to vote on that as a board.
Actually, the planning commission bylaws allow the planning commission to.
From a board perspective, the board votes on this calendar for the planning commission meetings. To make an alteration to this, the board needs to vote on a change to the planning commission that we know about now. Now that we know about the planning, the board should be voting about this planning commission meeting being a joint meeting. Especially,
As far as the boards, that's just the agenda item on the board's meeting, right?
it's not on today's meeting.
No, it's not on today's meeting.
Exactly, that's my point.
It's going to get a different.
There's been no notification, no publication.
Okay.
We have time to do it, but it's going to take a board vote to change the meeting schedule that's already published about the planning commission meeting. Because we're going to have a joint one. We're doing it on the same one that's ours, that's already been approved. Yours in the planning commission is different.
Well, if it's a special meeting for the bylaw, the planning commission can call a special meeting within 48 hours. So that, I guess you'd have to seek a legal opinion on if the board needs to approve the planning commission to call a special meeting.
Yeah? Somehow we may even have somebody
I don't think it's
as a
special
lawyer here
meeting.
that
I
might
think
be able
we're
to have.
inviting them to join our meeting.
I think it's, I mean, if you don't want it, then whatever, but I think it's a good thing.
I'm not saying I want it. This board, John, this board is very intent, because you hear him say it, we have to follow the law.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
So
Here's
instead
the
of
law.
just-
The law is the
Okay.
published resolution for the meeting schedule. We need to figure out how the board is going to address changing that and adding the planning commission to it.
When you guys called the special board meeting, did you guys change that schedule?
No.
We had to vote on it. We voted to have a special
Yeah.
meeting at a prior meeting.
Yep. And the supervisor by law is able to call a special meeting under certain circumstances. Certain circumstances. Thank
I
you.
believe that's the same in the planning commission bylaws. I'll have to discuss it with Greg and Ross and,
Excellent idea. Discussion needs to happen between the
well,
two
we already
boards.
had an
Hey, Greg,
So
We'll
we had a
find
meeting
out.
there.
is this
We're
not a
adding-
special
it's
meeting? Like
No,
Jennifer
it's not a
said, we're just inviting them to come to our meeting.
Yes.
I-
it's
and
not
I'm
a
gonna look
special
at-
meeting.
Yeah, we're inviting them
We
to come
don't
to our
have the
meeting.
agenda set yet. I'll look into it. You and I'll talk. And if we can have the joint meeting, we will. If we can't, we won't.
We will.
So,
Planning and
Is-
communication, that's all
is
I'm
there
asking
any
for.
miscellaneous business?
Yes. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to have a conversation with all of us here on the board about Mr. Rapetta's attorney fee. There seems to be a lot of concern with residents, and it's come up time and time again. And where we last left it, from my understanding, was that I was not to put the current attorney fees from the two lawsuits in the board packets. That's what we decided as a board. So I'm asking the board, do we want a grand total?
I beg your point of order, that is not what we decided. We decided to be transparent about all attorney fees,
All of them.
all attorney
Okay,
fees.
and so then I'm asking you, as a board, do you want the total put in a board packet of what it cost us?
It has to be.
Okay?
We've had a vote that we said, not only
Hey.
his, but every single
This
case.
is the board talking.
Every single case,
Okay,
not
so-
just his.
Okay, so we're clear on that, so it will be in the next board packet or the following board packet.
Along with every other case we have going on. Anderson's
Yes.
case, every single one.
Okay,
And the key,
Invoice then?
yes, the
So we're gonna
invoices,
put the invoices.
the invoices of the attorney fees of what it cost
And
us.
then if the
Okay.
case gets settled, then we can total it out, and that'll be the total. But yeah, that was the actual motion, is that we would start putting as full disclosure, every single, fees for every single case that we have going on.
Right, I understand that, but
That's right.
we had already passed that point of the case being lost in court, it was over.
Okay, so the clarification though is that you can't attribute that I was responsible for you on the board, I didn't vote for it, making a decision instead of eating at Mega Coney Island. You went to Novi Chop House to get your legal fees and spend a lot more money. Those are decisions by this board as to how much money, how you engage whatever legal firm, but those are decisions you made as a board, not me. I voted against it. And don't attribute those fees as though I caused you to make very expensive decisions that I didn't cause you to make. You made them, you own them. It may be a result of a lawsuit that I had filed, yes, but that is not attributable to me, the decisions to make, you know.
If it's because.
Yeah, but you can definitely list them. I'm just asking that you list them as part of the lawsuit. But we've got to get away from the language that you all used in the recall that said, I'm responsible for those choices that you all made at the township to spend an enormous amount of money on lawyer fees to combat this lawsuit. And the answer is that I voted against it. How can I be responsible if it's something I voted against?
You're
So-
responsible because you sued
Yeah,
the township.
I know you don't get it. I understand you don't get it.
We don't.
I know you don't get it, but every lawsuit needs to be fully vetted for the costs in a very, very operational way. This is the lawsuit, this is the case number, the lawsuit name, the fees that were incurred by all attorneys, so on and so forth. That was what was agreed. Itemized.
Absolutely. That's how it all started. It was supposed to.
It's transparent, it's called transparency.
This is in the back and forth.
Yeah,
Not rocket science.
all right. You good? We had a motion to adjourn then?
So moved.
Support. All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
No. No.
Could you guys stay, we're leaving.
I want more discussion.
Hey, Terry.
You and I.
Exactly why you want to do whatever you want.
It doesn't have to take
Yeah. Yeah. I may have to go pick Deanna up pretty soon. Look forward to it.
I'm guessing that. I don't know. I don't think